want me to go ahead? Cool. Hello, Wayfarers. Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade. You're here with me, Fee, who's the storyteller. With us we have Badger, who plays Lou. Then we have Rob, who plays Cal, and then Chris, who plays Reinhardt. We are missing our lovely Sarah, who plays Tabitha tonight. She's enjoying herself on holiday. Hi, Sarah, if you're watching. Yeah, so to do a quick recap of the last session, which was, oh God, a month ago. Scary how time flies. So, yeah. So, recap as well, guys. Feel free to hop in whenever in case I forget something. So, we had Cal break into Gabby's house, who had been to pray before, and there was something a bit funky with her. You realise she was basically vacant when no one was around, and just the light, almost like the lights were on but nobody was home. Like she was going through the motions. You collected blood.
Sorry.
Hey.
Good. Welcome back in the room.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Like you were never away. Yeah, so you collected some of her blood, didn't you?
Yes, I did, for Reinhardt's purposes.
In
a Tupperware box.
in the pasta Tupperware box. Reinhardt finally got in touch with his minions, probably is a better word.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be pestering and causing havoc prey, and for some reason nothing happened. There was something weird going on with phones. It looks like people had lost a day, including all of their phones and everything were all showing day. Lou, pretty sure you'd almost officially moved in with your latest, not squeeze, victim, probably.
Victim feels like the right word for Lou. Yeah.
David, who is a receptionist at the police station, while things were going on. Tabitha got a message from her not quite friend, acquaintance, who works with the camera. They needed her to go into one of her visions. There were things happening that people couldn't hand. Tabitha had voluntarily, she did volunteer to go. She wasn't just nabbed off the street. She did volunteer to go and go into the headquarters and see what awaited her in her visions. Then the only other real thing that popped up was Al's contact with his sewer rat. Again, maybe not friends.
No.
More unmentionables, possibly.
Yeah, the worst kind of family, right?
Yeah.
You can't choose your cousins.
No, you cannot. And these guys were not the nicest ones to look at, but they were very, very concerned about what was going on around this club.
Yeah.
They'd heard things. Time moved weird apparently around the club, and you all got told, he must not go forward, you must go back. Repeated over and over and over.
Yeah, they were really.
Yeah, they were freaking out a little bit. And unless anyone else has anything to add, I'm pretty sure that's probably about the gist of it.
Yeah, and there was a weird thing where they could control the phones or delete, almost cause like a time in the phones. So we don't know magic or super tech or. And then we started theorizing maybe there's something trapped in there rather than trying to keep us out. Might be trying to get in. And then we were freaking out.
Yeah.
Well, you were.
That's you. You were the one who kept being like, what's powerful. It's an antediluvian. It's an elder. I just wanted to open
yeah.
the door. You scared me.
It's an elder that can set ridiculously powerful magical wards.
Yeah, because because in Gabby's blood, you'd notice she'd been found someone that was an elder.
And the Surats told them that the elder was present while they were doing the wars, and so
we're in someone's big game.
it's probably a paladin.
Who knows? I'm sure you'll find out eventually.
I mean, you know.
I know. Okay, so it's now a new night. What are you guys up to today? I assume you've all sort of fed yourselves.
I was going to say, I want to make sure we go feed and follow some drunk person from the night before, feed on them. Yeah.
I'm going to assume that, unless specified otherwise, when we have essentially the downtime, you guys are feeding. Obviously, it's easiest for Lou because David's right there, ready and willing.
Yep.
So
that
I am
poor
going
guy's
to
going to
assume-
be anemic, and going to be an anemic by the end.
Yeah, poor kid. Yeah. So I'm assuming these are all your hungers at 1.
Good.
So
I take it it can't go lower than 1.
it can, but you have to drain the person dry.
Right.
Ooh. Yeah.
Which again causes extra issues. So
Yeah. It's unnecessary. We don't need to do that.
just
Not right now.
a little bit. No, I mean you could potentially and if you get out of control and go on a feeding frenzy, then you could.
That never happens.
No.
Yeah, never. Apart from 3 of yous in a club.
Who?
Getting those phones was really difficult.
Well, I think it was only 2 of us went. Oh no.
No.
Getting those phones resulted in 2 people being attacked.
Yeah, almost dying.
3.
No, 3 people being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Almost exposing us to them, exposing the masquerade, just to get our hands on some people's phones.
Yep. Luckily, you were having a vampire-themed party.
I mean, I robbed them as well.
You did rob them as well.
Yeah.
I blame Prey.
A few euros.
Blame Prey.
And somehow Lou was the only one who managed to keep his cool in that situation.
It was very impressive.
Which I specifically built his stats so that he was the one who was least likely to keep his cool.
I mean, it was all in the hands of the dice gods.
Really was.
It was a stressful situation. To be fair, we've basically been outplayed by the opposing nightclub. I'm blaming it on that.
Yeah.
It'll never happen again.
Okay. Okay, so
Q 5 minutes later.
Yep. Gonna one of the SpongeBob things when it's 10 minutes later.
10
minutes
later.
What are you guys doing? You're freshly woken, freshly jazzed. What are you up to?
Meet at the club, right? Normal.
Yeah.
You can meet at the club, yeah. Or we can meet at we can meet at the club, or we can meet at Lou and Tabitha's apartment, because we now know that it's clear at least.
Actually, yeah, that's a good. Let's go there.
Do I know where that is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you've been there.
I imagine you'll probably have been there a lot. Before they basically got a foothold in the club. That was basically where.
But at least there we know there's no one can be keeping no one's going to be eavesdropping on us, because we'll be
magically and technologically we know it's clear, right?
Yeah.
Safe. Yeah, Carl will definitely be up for that. And he'll just text you H for home, and then by the time everybody's do you have an elevator that goes to your? Is it like a top floor?
I imagine so. We got a really nice place.
Sweet, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was
he'll just be
fancy.
He'll ride the elevator up and down until Reinhardt turns up.
That was the caveat for.
Just literally sitting there pushing the button up.
Just stand there, because if anyone uses it, he'll be invisible.
Yeah, base haven brackets luxury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Cal wants to make sure he's the last person to go into the room. Doesn't like to be followed.
Yeah.
So wait for right
I
now.
will probably turn up just looking completely different than usual, since I'm going to go out and try and find some people to work for. So I'm going to properly lean into like the kind of mystical aspects. He's probably turning up just looking just completely different, like jeans. It's got a fed like t-shirt on, and he's wearing this like overly kind of elaborate like thing that kind of stretches down towards his legs, and you can see like all the tattoo and the brandings on his arm of like weird occult shit.
I imagine he also though feels very uncomfortable in that outfit.
Yeah, because it's not really him, but he has to keep up appearances sometimes.
Yeah, but other people that he's known for at least a few decades.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he still doesn't feel comfortable on it.
Do we know why you dress up like that when you do?
Oh, people expect certain things, don't they?
Cal won't comment on
It-
it then. Just look at you. Push his eye back into his face. Lou's waiting for us.
We make him wait a bit longer
Why?
just to get worried.
No, it is not a good time.
Like Lou would get worried.
Yeah.
How would he be the only one stressed by the whole exchange? No.
Keep pressing the
They-
button to go up.
I imagine there's just a little fight when they're like this over the buttons from the left.
No,
Just
he
press
would-
all
he-
the buttons. Ah!
He'll just look at you like, what are you doing?
Okay, so you finally, eventually, after about 15 minutes, managed to get to the apartment.
Well, you guys certainly took your time.
Yes. Apparently it was important to press all the buttons. We're here.
Well, that's the main thing.
You're sure this place is safe?
Yes, it's been checked out by. It's been checked out, and Tabby is certain that no one is watching this place through any, non-surveillance means, and you've checked the system, so we're.
Yes.
And at least here, there's no chance of just some random club person listening in on us.
It's good to meet up at different places as well. If we're being watched, we don't want to establish any patterns, unless we absolutely have
I
to.
have a great idea for where we can meet one time.
Where would that be?
You see it.
We should meet.
I'll burn it to the ground. I will burn it to the ground.
Honk.
Yes,
We
would
should meet outside at some point. Meet out in one of the parks,
Seems like unnecessary exposure.
but it's public. We can see people. There'll be other people there. It's harder to, come in and murderize us in public than it is here.
in a park.
Yep.
Darling, unless we're planning to go to the park in the middle of the day, I think it would look very suspicious. Who goes to a park at night except for druggies and thugs and, well, us?
Oh, people sneaking around, not wanting to get caught.
Right. Which is,
Everybody has their vices.
darling, don't
Are we
you know it?
avoiding murderers or
But-
not? It sounds like we get more murderers.
I mean, I haven't had a murder in a while.
No, me neither, actually.
That could be fun.
With Tower,
I don't like
Go on,
I
need
don't like
to-
to feed on murderers. It's too much like myself.
Mm.
But anyways, Tabby's busy.
with
Doing-
Camarilla.
Yes, doing her thing with the camera, which, good for her. But
I hope she impresses them.
we need to, I don't know, we need to be doing something. And I don't know about you two, but my mind keeps going back to those murders that happened,
Yes.
because that's kind of where this whole thing is starting. So we know a little bit from what Tabby has seen in her visions and what bits we've managed to gather from your spectacular infiltration of the morgue. But I'm willing to bet that any information worth having is probably down at the precinct.
Agreed.
And it just so happens that I have a way in.
I was hoping that you were working an angle. Good. What is it?
Darling, I wouldn't, I'm not saying that I wouldn't, of course I would, but to get mixed up with a police officer and not have an angle, I'm thinking that, Cal, that you and I go down to the police station and pay my new boyfriend a bit of a visit. And whilst I keep him distracted, I can slip you his keys or access card, whatever he has on him. And then you can do your thing and snoop around and try and get into the system and find what information you can.
Sound like
Sorry, I missed that. Something cut out my audio.
that sounds like a good night. Yes, let's do
Indeed.
that. More information. We should really have our fingers in the files of all those police anyway.
We'll definitely get our fingers into it. But, yes, I think having a better ear on the ground, and especially looking back over these killings that are just very confusing, I think that might be a good start for us.
We could also keep an eye on anything that connects to a park. Tabitha said it happened in a park.
It did. It happened in a park, but also seemed to happen in the daytime.
Yeah. The
Which is
police would have
strange.
more information, hopefully.
Let's hope.
If it's even happened, yes.
We know that
Have
some
there been
killings
any
have happened.
murders since the ones we found?
Nope, nothing like that. It's just, the usual run of the mill.
Yeah. Yes.
Just-
And then I think your plan is good, Lou. I think we need everything they have.
And at the moment, we just don't seem to have all that much. Every time we feel like we're making progress, something pushes back against us. So,
Yes.
square one might just be the best place to move from.
I lament it, but I agree. I wish I had more answers, but I don't.
Yes, well,
So let's get them.
let's do it.
Reinhardt, where are you
Yes.
going?
Oh, I'm going to try and find some people that could be useful. And
Oh.
if I can get some favors, even better. And then I need to go shopping.
For what?
Stuff for rituals.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
quite boring.
I'm sure. Fine.
Mm.
Keep your phone on.
Of course.
Okay, so we've got Cal and Lou heading to the police station, and then Reinhardt is heading out somewhere. Do you have a rough idea of where you're going?
I am looking for like an occult type shop that I could pick up the things I need, specifically rooster feathers and bones.
I imagine that Mark probably has some sort of contact if he's been doing rituals for a while in the city.
Mm.
I imagine he's got, it's one of those little shops that kind of caters to tourists where it's like, oh yeah, magic and things. And then it's like the stuff
Yeah.
for
The real.
the real practitioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably go there. I'll just peruse and see if there's any rumors going about, and then see if Andy's needing any occult work that I could do, maybe to gain some favors for some people. That type of
Okay,
thing.
so you want to see if there's any rumors? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, probably in that shop, because I imagine if it's known that.
So what were you saying? If it's known, you what?
That I'm using it, considering I've got the dark secret thing, that there's a very good chance, I would assume, that it's known that if I'm using it and I have some minor occult powers, that other people in the know or looking for those types of services may contact me, or may at least contact that place, or may go there to see if they can find someone. So kind of keep my ear to the ground just to.
Okay, so are you going to just ask the people there if there's anyone looking for anything, or is this type of thing, is this new for Reinhardt? Is what I'm going with it.
It's probably newish, I would say. He's
Like
probably
offering
used,
out his services.
yeah, he's probably used to people asking him for help rather than him going to find people who need help.
Okay. But if people are aware of what you do, if you've helped people in the past, then there probably will be. I imagine the person that owns the place probably knows what things would almost be like beneath you, but will probably still give you a rundown of things depending on. Obviously, they probably don't know that you're a vampire.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's like the seedy a weird, not seedy, it's a weird underbelly of the city.
Yeah.
Where obviously, like, some people, it's, they want like to draw like chalk symbols on something, and other folk they want to like bind themselves to their partner for life and do like weird rituals where they carve and teach. The weird things that pop up all over the time. Yeah, she'll probably give you a list of things that people have been asking for, and probably all aware of any, not so much rumors, more like whispers, like if people have been there asking for specific things or specific people, they'll probably give you a list of all of that.
Yeah.
So you've got, again, the usual, where you've got ones where folks want to, like protect their house and their loved ones. You've got ones that want to like cast curses on people. You've got ones where people want to, like, I imagine also you're looking out for specific words. So like if someone says they're looking for a ward, would probably mean more than if someone was looking for protection.
Yeah.
Um,
Probably stuff like, like ward. Yeah, stuff like kind of like I suppose like ward. Find out the truth about someone, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even if somebody thinks like somebody was taken by supernatural creature, that sort of thing, like.
Yeah. Okay, so you've probably got about, there's like half a page there of people asking for stuff. There's only about 3 things on there that pique interest.
Ooh.
One of them is obviously someone's looking for a ward to ward off the evil demons. There's one where someone's looking to bind themselves to something. And then there's one that's looking to find someone's soul.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
So,
very interesting.
all of them, even the ones that haven't piqued your interest, are obviously offering money or something in exchange, like favors or something. And there's also been a few whispers. Some of them you're already aware of, like Prey, and that there's something very, very, very strange going on about that. There's been a few whispers about how there could possibly be vampires in the city, because there was a really weird thing that happened at Thirst, a couple of nights ago.
No.
Where, there was like a whole thing, and it was all
Tinfoil
about
hat bearers.
camp and cheesy and stuff, and then all of a sudden it got really real really quickly, and then all of a sudden it didn't, and everyone was a bit like, okay. Most people were fine, but there's a few whispers. There's been whispers as well about how some of the animals are acting strange in certain places. Like they don't want to go near random areas where it could be halfway down the street. They just refuse to go any further. There's whispers of someone attempting to set a swan car on fire.
Right, their name. I'm going to turn them into a pretzel.
There's strange ones again of like how there's monsters in the junkyard, and that there's a new drug on the street that's turning people into zombies, and
That's
those kind of weird sort of whispers, the ones that could be true, or they could just be I heard from someone that said something type of rumors.
Do they know who was spreading the whispers about what happened at Thirst?
No. It's been one of those where folk were like, oh, we had a great night, there was obviously a guy dressed up as Dracula, and it was like really cool. He was like handing out roses, and then there was like free drinks, and everything looked like blood. And then all of a sudden, it was like this weird. It was like completely random, and there was like no wind up to it. But all of a sudden, these people got like attacked, and there was like blood everywhere. And then all of a sudden, they were like, "Ah, surprise! It's a thing!" And then they were all like, "That was a bit weird because it kind of killed the mood." And then all of a sudden, it was like it didn't, and everybody had a great time.
Okay.
They almost it's the way that it's worded is it's almost like if you were in a normal club and then someone like smacked someone over the head with a glass bottle.
Yeah.
Like completely random, like you had no context for it. It happened, and everybody kind of froze and was like, what the hell? And then it got dealt with, and then everybody just kind of carried on with their night. That's the way it was spoken about. Like it wasn't anyone was like, oh my god, what if vampires are real? It's that whole thing of going, wouldn't it be funny if the vampire club had vampires in it?
Yeah. I think the only other thing you probably want to know is this junkyard and obviously the swan car person, because they're just going to die.
There's loads of people that want the swan car to burn.
Oh, well.
There's a whole cult now around
Oh, that's fine. Right.
Burn.
Okay. They're now to target number one. Just let me update my notes.
If
anyone watching,
yeah,
look up the Swan Car. It's in a place called the Lowen Car Museum in Holland. It's ridiculous, and I regret ever telling Chris that such a thing existed.
Because now my vampire wants to drive it around,
and it's not going to happen.
Scalding humans with the steam.
So yeah, if anyone's watching, feel free to look it up. It's ridiculous.
It also poops white paint.
It does poop white paint.
Okay, so also it's probably the streets one, because that sounds really weird. find someone's soul, that person, and junkyard or zombies? What do we think? I mean, junkyard sounds cool. It's probably just going to be a dog, or it's going to be a really, really big ghost that will just straight up murderize me.
See, for a second, I thought you were going to say goat, and I was like, that would be hilarious, but no.
Just a random, random goat.
Just in the middle of this junkyard.
Yeah.
Might make it a thing now.
Yeah. So street junkyard with a goat, and soul, because evil demons, I can't make a ward to keep those away, and this bind themselves to something. That just sounds so cliche.
Okay. So they give you information about the person that went into soul. It's basically just a first name and a mobile number. And they tell you about junkyard. It's slightly further out of the city. There's been a couple of people that have said that they've gone past there in the middle of the night, and there's been really weird noises. And there's not been any instance or anything that anyone's aware of. It sounds like something like a movie monster, basically, with all like the big growls and things like that when they're walking past. But the fact that it's in a junkyard and there's nothing to say that anything's going on there or whatever, is just put a few people on edge.
That sounds fun. I bet it's Robot Wars. I bet it started again. That'd be amazing if it was Robot Wars.
Yeah. So you're going for the soul, the junkyard.
Yeah.
What other one are we?
And the street where animals don't want to.
Oh yeah, no. There's a few of them.
Mm.
What they do is they point you, which Reinhardt will very much not appreciate, to a Facebook page where people have been, obviously, like local communities, like a few kind of streets or like complexes and things, have their own Facebook groups, and it's in that where, you know, my dog won't wander past the street, and then everybody's piped up saying the same. They've noticed that animals, like birds, seem to fly, like they'll go down the street and then they'll just turn and go the other way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. Some people feel slightly uncomfortable when they walk down that street, but other people don't notice.
Okay. Cool. I guess we can sort out of an area later on, and rather than trying to worry about it now, we can.
Yeah, they give you all of the details. There's
Okay.
There's a couple of different areas, and a couple of different like little, essentially housing complexes almost, that are having similar issues, just with different streets.
Cool. I'll probably get the things that I needed, and then I guess walk to the nearest weird street.
Okay, you're probably about half an hour or so away.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're making your way there, Cal and Lou are making their way to the police station. Has Lou told David that he's coming?
No, he is not. So Lou's plan is to stop off on the way to the police station, to stop off at some kind of like cafe, like late night cafe, even just like a chain, and get just like a fancy coffee in a takeaway cup and a couple of pastries in a little bag, and he's going to do the whole routine.
The kind of adorable little boyfriend routine.
Absolutely, doing the full adorable boyfriend routine. And is literally just going to show up to surprise David with the treats.
Okay, and I'm assuming Cal is going to attempt to stay
pretty incognito. He'll have a big dirty hoodie on, that one he stole off when he stayed in their house, and give Lou room to do his work. He
Okay,
works in like the
so-
reception, right? So I'll sit
Yeah.
down like I'm waiting for somebody, but obviously
Okay, so you're just gonna, are you gonna walk in behind Lou? then?
yeah, but like a few, like
Yeah,
say
like
30
yeah,
seconds
like you're not
behind.
with them. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so as you walk in, Lou, you see David. He's obviously like doing reception stuff, and he sort of turns to like, and the moment he lays eyes on you, like his whole face lights up, and he's just like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "Lou, I didn't expect to see you. Hi!" And he's like starting to go bright red.
So is it the reception area? Is it quiet, or or are there quite a few people around?
There's a kind of couple of people dotted about, but mainly people are sort of waiting. Like this isn't the area where like if anything happens, people get pulled in. There's a different area for that. This is one where people like maybe go to get people like bail people out or
Perfect.
to know do things like that. So it's slightly quieter. It's not right at the front entrance like you go around the corner, so it's slightly quieter. It's like if people have information that they want to come forward with, and they like need to make an appointment or they want to speak to like a detective, they would go around the side entrance instead.
Gotcha.
So it's
Gotcha.
slightly quieter, but there's a couple of people dotted about, but they're in their own little world because they're all waiting for different things.
Different things.
Nice. There's also a woman in the corner that's crying. You know, sometimes people get bad news.
Yeah,
Cal's gonna sit by her.
Of course you are.
Just
So-
listen.
Yes, and Lou's gonna approach David on the front desk, and just go, "Hi, darling. So, I was just sat down at your place, and I really just couldn't stop thinking about last night, and so I thought I'd come down and surprise you, and maybe if you're due a break anytime soon, treat you to, well, something nice."
Literally, as you mentioned last night, he goes even redder. And he's literally just like, I was kind of thinking about last night too. I'm actually due my break soon. And then he sort of like goes, hold on, and he kind of like wheels round to like the back, and there's like a little door at the side, and he kind of opens it up, and he's like whispering to someone. And then he like swings back over, and he's like, 10 minutes.
All right, darling, I'll be here waiting.
Okay. Then he just, as you start to kind of like walk away, he mumbles, going, "I like it when you call me darling." Just like then like ducks his head back down into the computer. Doesn't even notice that Cal wandered in.
Yeah, I just gotta leave there, and Lou is gonna basically just gonna find a seat where he can sit down, and he's just gonna just continuously watch David for the next 10 minutes, and in a way that is hugely predatory, but at the same time, just because he has David enthralled already, just this very much I can't take my eyes off of you kind of look on his face.
Oh yeah, like David can almost like feel you staring at him, and he's still bright red, like it doesn't die down. He keeps fumbling with things when he has to answer the phone. He keeps mucking up his words, and he's like getting really flustered, and it's almost worse because he knows that you're watching. And it's almost like the 10 minutes can't, or basically take forever, but also happen really, really quickly.
Absolutely.
Is Cal doing anything while this is happening?
No, our plan is to like, you're going to get the card right and give it to me and I'll go. Or do you want me to sneak in? Yeah, Lou's running this off. Like Cal trusts him. I will like. He's probably like pretending to be like a bit of a junkie, so like his head's down and he's mumbling. I will ask the lady why she's crying. About why you're crying.
And she's just like, "Oh, I just bad news. Like I'm just waiting for somebody."
What's
and she
wrong?
just starts sobbing again. She's just waiting for someone to come and pick it up. Like she's
Okay.
But
yeah,
as she's speaking, like her throat gets so tight that she just can't really finish. It's like her voice gets quieter and quieter and like squeaking almost because her throat is tightened up, and then she just bursts into tears again.
yeah, Cal will like scoot one chair to the right and just let her cry, and then like you'll just see like his orange eyes from under his hood like make contact with you, Lou, and you can see like he's ready. He's just like tapping the seat. So as soon as you get him, he's gonna go in and like infiltrating the police. Like this is modern technology, right?
Yeah.
Would we be able to get like place an actual bug so like their information goes to us, or do I need to get like download my USBing all their information to me? You know what I mean?
It would depend on what kind of bug you were looking to place. Like if you were looking to place like a little camera or like a little like listening device.
Yeah.
Depending on how high tech your stuff was, I imagine you wouldn't need to USB it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mostly want them, whenever they enter any information about these murders, to get like a copy almost emailed to me.
Okay, for something like that, you probably have to install a little virus in a computer.
Is that possible? I got a high-tech school.
It probably would be. It would just be trying to either find a computer with the right access,
yeah,
or having the time to be able to search for
what we want.
the right kind of layer of kind of encryption. Because obviously the people at the front desk don't get obviously all of the details about different cases.
No, the front desk.
Yeah. So obviously, like people have to put in passwords to get access to certain things. So it would be making sure that either you can hack in to that kind of level, or you find a computer that's already at that level that you can just put a virus in.
Yeah, we want to get that Chief's computer basically, don't we? The cop you spoke to, Lou, who was in charge of the case.
Yeah. Oh, it was Michael's, Detective Michael's.
Michael's, yeah.
I just had to double check.
Yeah, she was one of the detectives on the case. So.
Yeah, she was a tough nut. Yeah, maybe we'll bug her office if I can get to it. Yeah, and
so I'm going to get you an access card that should get you through the door.
Yeah.
Once you're in there, it's down to Cal
on me.
Yeah, to get the stuff.
Yeah, do my best to get to her office. We'll say like a little camera I've got with me, and then if we can get typing in her password, I'll come back at a later time and I can just access her computer.
Okay.
I'll copy the key card hopefully.
That's fine. I'm going to say that Lou, obviously, as you're watching, this woman comes out the back. The moment the doors open, David's literally off the seat and coming like through the door that she's just walked through, and then obviously out the side, and then comes and gets you. So it's almost like the front desk has, like, there's no way to get over the desk. Like, there's literally plastic in the way. So, because obviously they still have to deal with potentially someone who's angry or upset. So the only way in or out to the reception is through a door at the side. But that is also the door that can take you further into the building, because that's where you went the first time you met Detective Michaels. As you got led through that door, so you know that getting that access card will at least get you into the corridor to where you need to go, or where Cal needs to go.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the moment this woman opens the door, literally David's up and off his seat and like through that door and is out to come and meet you. And he's like, I can't take you around the, obviously I can't take you into the station, but there's a really nice little bench around the corner that we can go to. And he's like twiddling his thumbs.
Lou will kind of just brush his fingers through David's hair and just go, a little bench around the corner. How private is that?
And you can see him kind of going, and then it click, like light bulb goes on, and he just neon red. And he starts kind of stuttering a bit, and that basically tells you that there's at least somewhere that's fairly secluded.
She goes, well, if it's somewhere nice and private where we can have a bit of alone time, then lead the way, darling.
He's like, okay, and he kind of like grabs your hand, and he's like, as you're kind of like heading probably Pascal. He's like, I've only got half an hour. And he kind of like mumbles it under his breath because he doesn't want to obviously say it out loud. But you guys have really good hearing anyway. But he's like, I've only got half an hour, so we'll have to be quick. And he's like, and then he's almost like can't believe he's actually.
Some of the good things about being human.
You might
Yes,
even
so-
enjoy it.
So basically, you can appear completely human for a night, including but not limited to a heartbeat, body temperature, and breath.
Mm.
So you can even pass a cursory medical examination. Though obviously, you will still fail more intrusive screenings. So, like if they took blood or if they had to search, you know, like if you had to do an MRI and things like that because your
Yeah.
body's technically dead, you
Yeah,
would fail miserably on that.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, it's real surface level, basically. If anyone
yeah,
probes.
yeah. I feel like when I go to whatever this person is, I forget. I'll probably do that to at least appear human, because that might actually give that if they're another kindred, it might give them a false sense of security
Mm-hmm.
that I'm just a normal born human. You know.
And if we're messing with any other kindred, we want them to know as little as possible about us anyway, right? So
Yeah.
it seems like a good practice, to be honest.
Yeah, I just haven't read like anything in that bit, like what you can do as a vampire without relying on your disciplines, because it seems to be a lot there, and I just.
To be fair, most of it is stuff that hasn't really come up yet. To be fair, so basically you've got things like obviously blush of life, you've got blood surge, so you can temporarily augment your attributes, whether physical, social, or mental. The
Oh.
problem with that, though, it only applies once, and it does require a rouse check. So it's one of those where if your hunger's quite high, I don't recommend doing it. Unless you want me to potentially take over and keep our.
I mean, you know, if I meet the cult that's trying to destroy the Swan car, you know, like.
No. The other one was the vampiric mending, is the one that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's where Chief. I think the
so
character fixes itself after being shot or something weird like that.
Superficial health damage. So it's depending on your blood. The vampire can mend one or more points of superficial health damage with a single rouse. And then obviously you've got aggravated damage. And you have to do 3 rouse checks.
Oof.
But aggravating damage is obviously like bad.
Is that like fire or something like that?
Yeah, that's you can get like crippling injuries as well. So like if you've broken a leg, then obviously it will slow you down, it will cripple you. So regardless of, like, that's basically an aggravated injury, because you can't, especially depending on how it's done, to be fair, like if someone smashed out your kneecap, it would be aggravated because it's really, really hard, and it would take a while for you to actually try and heal it. You haven't really come into combat or anything fighty yet.
That's all right. I'm at some point going to a bloody junkyard where there's strange noises.
No, we're more detectives at the moment.
What's the worst that can happen?
I'll find out. We are in the police station.
I'm going to die in that junkyard.
There could be a goat.
No, it's going to be a werewolf.
It's not going to be a werewolf.
It is.
Goat in a junkyard.
Goat.
Anyway, before technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So Lou was basically going to like take David around to the secluded area and I assume seduce him.
Oh, I mean,
Oh, that's
they
difficult.
got half an hour. Like the second that Lou gets a sense that they are well hidden and secluded, he's essentially just going to pounce on David, um, and start doing his thing. But he's basically going to use the opportunity as he's got David very distracted, to reach around and grab the little. I imagine the card is on like a little fob on his belt or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he's going to
you'd have to
literally.
take the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So he's gonna unhook that as he's keeping David distracted, and just kind of slide it across the ground towards where they came, so that Cal can grab it.
Okay. So
Um,
that probably, knowing Lou, happens in like the first 30 seconds.
oh yeah, absolutely. He's not wasting time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on a
Um,
job.
yeah.
And then he's basically
So
just going to keep David occupied for the next half hour.
yeah, that's fair. Um,
Yeah.
So in that case, we will cut to Cal.
Yeah, he'll
Um,
scoop up the gang. He doesn't even look back at Lou. He just knows he's operating.
Yeah.
But yeah, his gangling fingers will pick up this fob and put it on. He'll go into like the bathroom and activate unseen passage, because I imagine obviously if someone just disappears, that's the kind of thing where you look around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's kind of like riding a bit of shadow, I suppose. And yeah, I'm going to go into this place. I'm going to look as soon as I get in through the back, like you said, through the like perspex area and into the tunnels beyond, the corridors behind. I'd like to see if there's like a janitor's closet or anything, and just basically drag a mop around with me, so I've got, or at least know where it is. So if I do get caught, I'm gonna go in there and be like, oh, I'm just a janitor, and just freak out and get out that way.
Okay, you can't really see much from where you are just because the door at the back to kind of get out. So imagine it's almost like a sort of rounded edge at the front that kind of looks out onto obviously the kind of waiting area. And then there's a door at the side, and that goes down a corridor. From obviously what Lou told you last time, and it's the door, one of the doors off that leads into that little reception
Okay,
nook.
so I want to go down there.
So like say when I imagine Lou would have told Cal kind of roughly where he went when he
Yeah,
was
so you've been here.
detective. So he knows that he went through that door, and kind of along the corridor. There's different doors going off it. There will be kind of like supply cupboards and things
That's
along there,
fine.
and random
I want to
offices.
check. I want to check any possible exits that are like vents and stuff in this building, windows. In case things go bad, I'm gonna
Yeah,
need a way out.
there are windows, but they're like normal windows when a police officer, so they've got like the mesh stuff in it, so they're
Oh, no,
really
okay.
difficult to break in and out of.
Okay, that's bad.
There are kind of couple of events, but they only come out at certain points. Normally into kind of like bigger rooms, where there's more of a chance to bump into people, or like the one you found that took you into the mortuary freezer.
Yeah, that's fine. Worst comes to worst, I'll lock myself in the supply cupboard and just spend the rest of the night in here.
So I do have a question. How are you actually getting into that corridor in the first place? Because although you have the key, there are other people in that room, and then you have to swipe and then get through a door where nobody can see you. And
yeah, that would be like a ghost. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to terrorize that screaming woman, the crying woman. I think to cause like a commotion, so they'll have to come out and speak to her, calm her down.
Okay. So do you want to sort of scare her or just make her cry or what?
I'm going to push her over the edge. She said she's like crying. She was already crying, right, and waiting for someone to pick her up.
Yeah.
I'm going to just like basically sit next to her and whisper in her ear that like nobody's coming. Everybody hates you. They've left you here.
Cool.
Does she start getting more distressed?
In that case, I just want you to roll a straight up manipulation. Because technically, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, it's right. I've got 2 in that. Just manipulation, just two. Yeah. 1 success.
Okay, was the other one a critical fail?
Just no, a blank, nothing.
Okay. Wow. Okay, well, she failed miserably. Okay, she was literally on a knife's edge, and then you come up and
Yes.
whisper. This random thing comes up and whispers in her ear, and full blown meltdown. Like she literally screams, falls to her knees, and starts sobbing, almost like tearing out her hair, going, "Nobody cares. Like they killed my sister. Um, nobody's coming for us.
Yeah, I like
Nobody
scoot back and
cares."
hope the
Yeah.
people come out.
Oh yeah, like the woman at reception's like shit.
Yes.
Because she's literally like tearing her own, like she's digging her nails into her skin, she's ripping her hair out and everything. Full blown mental breakdown.
It's fine. She's
Um,
she's a tool. Yeah, and then he'll like look on for a second, like, is she worth keeping? And then be like, no, no, come on, stay focused. And yeah, then scan in
um,
and go into this corridor.
so yeah, well, to be fair, this other woman from reception's literally like she presses a buzzer,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then she
nice.
like goes out the door into like that corridor and then opens the door. So if you're quick enough, you could
Yeah,
probably just
perfect.
get
Yeah,
through as
yeah. I imagine Cal does that all the time. Like he barely
yeah,
opens
like
doors
slides
himself.
and
Yeah,
doors. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, sneaking through that. Nice.
Okay,
And
so
yeah, and follow Lou's kind of path that you told me about.
okay.
Directions.
Yeah. So you head down the corridor. Again, there's different doors going off on either side. Um, some of them have like meeting rooms. You've got a couple of like blank ones that if you look into it is just like random cupboards. Um,
Mm.
some of them are just like stationery, others it's like cleaning supplies and stuff. There's toilets, the usual kind of office stuff. There's a door that says basically it's like stairs, um, which obviously will take you up or down. You know that she was on the third floor,
Okay,
so
just gotta go
up
up.
you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Take the stairs.
Um, so as you open the door at the top of the stairs, it is almost like in a massive big, essentially like a bullpen, where
Yeah,
there's loads
cool.
of different like chairs, but with the time of night, it's not as busy as it would be during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a couple of people dotted about. Um, and you do see obviously sort of offices at the back that are named. So obviously you've got like one of them. Obviously you notice right away is Detective Massey's almost staring at you as
Nice.
you open the door.
Okay.
Are you just heading straight for her
Yeah, so I'll
office?
keep a wide berth from anybody, even though like I'm not detectable. We're still like, he doesn't, he's not stupid. He keeps away, makes sure they can't smell him or hear anything. Yeah, and just
Yeah.
really slowly like walk around, um, kind of scan my eyes across any of their desks if any of them have anything on it related to what we're looking into, but probably not because, like you said, Nicholson is on the case. And yeah, get into her office or look into her office first. Has she
Yeah.
got like a glass side? Like, can I see in it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of glass and obviously there's kind of like blinds, so that she can do privacy or not.
Yeah.
Um, it's one of those where even like just opening the door to get into this kind of bullpen, like nobody's even noticed. Like
Yeah.
the moment
Sweet.
that opens, although there's not a lot of people, there's still a lot of noise going on. There's still people getting like interviewed and
Mm.
things like that. There's
Busy
still
place.
people like shouting across at each other, like
Perfect.
if
Yeah.
the stuff's getting printed out, phones are and like people are on the phone, phones are ringing, that sort of thing. So it's still
Yeah.
fairly noisy.
The chaos is
Um,
good.
yeah, so you see a few things that on a normal day probably would have sparked your interest.
Yeah.
um, but it's not anything that you're looking specifically for. Um, so yeah, you just head up. The blinds are kind of half shut in her office, but the door's slightly ajar. You
Okay.
can hear that she's talking to someone.
Oh. Um. So like, I'll very very slowly like move the door open so it almost looks like it's naturally just drifting, and see if I can step into the room and listen to what she's saying.
Okay. Let's see. I think that would be a stealth, which I'm pretty sure you're good at.
Supposed to be.
I'm just trying to think. Possibly. I'm just trying to think of a way to do it so it looks natural.
Yeah.
Um, um, possibly manipulation, because you kind of want them to think that it's happening. So stealth and manipulation.
Okay. Went for a party.
Wow, that was not good.
I got 3 successes and a critical success.
Nice.
Wow. Any critical fails?
No, all the rest are blank, which is good. I've learned now.
Yep. Excellent, because they got 1 critical fail, 2 successes. So, they did not do very well. To be fair, they were engrossed in the conversation, so
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
they didn't notice. So as you kind of slide in, you almost sort of move the door a little bit back towards you as well, so it looks like it's kind of like swung and is settling
Wheels,
again.
yes, yeah.
So yeah, they kind of like glance but don't notice.
Just an inexplicable breeze. This is
Yeah.
all fine. Yeah. Yeah.
But obviously there is still noise going on outside.
Yeah.
But as that kind of door happens, the person that Detective Michaels, because Lou would have described what she looked like, and also she does have like, you know, there is her desk. She's sitting behind her desk.
Yeah,
and
and she's got a bit of a
looking on it.
presence as well, hasn't she? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
she's small, but she has like a very big, tough presence.
yeah.
So the person that she's talking to gets up, and goes and closes the door. It's almost like they had the conversation without realizing that the door wasn't shut.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so this obviously Detective Michaels is literally like, I can't explain it. I don't know why this has happened.
I'm gonna put my voice recorder on my phone on while they're talking.
Okay. So yeah, she's like, obviously you can see there's things in front of her. There's pictures of dead bodies. It looks like autopsy notes. You know, things like trying to think of words, like toxicology reports and
Yeah,
all those kind of
cool,
sorts of things, are kind of like spread out over the desk. And she's literally like, I can't explain this. Like, I don't know how these people died. It's literally like their bodies just stopped. And there's these weird things on them, and I don't know how. I don't know why. I can't give you an explanation. So the person that has basically their back to you,
Yeah.
because I imagine you're still kind of like hovering towards the door.
I'll slowly move towards a corner because I feel safest in corners, I think.
Yeah. So this person, another woman, again, older. There's something about her. You don't recognize her as such, but her presence reminds you of something or someone. You just can't quite put your finger on it yet. And so this woman's like, she sort of grabs some of the pictures and she's looking at them, and she doesn't quite go pale, but she sort of freezes, and she's like, this is not good, but you have to leave this to us. Your job is over. With just chalk it up to, I don't know, make something up. You can't touch this case anymore. And at this, Detective Michaels goes red and then pale, like she goes really angry and then she goes really pale when she actually realizes whatever the significance is that is obviously lost on you at the moment. And she starts to look very, very worried. And they sort of freeze for a moment, and you just hear this, is it them? And the one goes, I don't know, we're working on it. We've got someone who can hopefully help with us at the moment. I will need a copy of all of this, and I don't care what you tell your supervisors, but this can't go any further.
Burn it down.
And you can see Detective Michael's face is very conflicted. She's very torn on what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's almost like a sort of staring contest. There's a look passing between them, like some sort of understanding. Again, you're completely out of the loop.
Yeah.
And she goes, fine, do you want physical copies or do you want them emailed? And the other one would go, both. And then she sits back, still looking at one of these pictures. And then Detective Michaels gets up and goes, essentially, like, opens the door and leaves the room. You assume to go and get copies of all of this. And the other woman is just literally leaning back, almost like this, intently staring at this picture.
I'll look over her shoulder. What is she looking at? Also,
it's an autopsy photo. So
okay.
You can't tell who it is. You can just tell that it's, well, obviously it's a person.
Yeah.
It's basically, it looks like because obviously the autopsy's done, it's like a Y shape, and then they peel the skin back and then take the ribs out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that. So it's basically, you can see the organs, and it almost looks like something's been branded into their organs.
Oh, okay.
Any
symbol?
That was not what I was expecting you to say.
What you don't recognize anything specifically, but you can tell that there's some form of ritualistic.
Oh, Reinhardt's gonna love me when I call them up.
Some sort of ritualistic thing, like it's got the same sort of vibe to it.
I'll try to commit it to memory. Yeah. I will try and get a copy of this, but if I can't, I will. Okay. Interesting. It's the most closest that I've got to learning something.
This person looks incredibly worried.
They're
like,
scared too. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going to move around and I want to look at this woman. Why do I feel a familiar vibe about her?
I'm going to get you to check that. So if you roll, let's see. It's not going to be that. If you roll wits and probably wits and resolve, actually, because it's almost like her presence reminds you of someone, but because you weren't expecting to see them there,
my brain's like,
yeah, it's like when you look at like someone in a film and you're like, I know who they are, I've seen them in something else,
but
you just can't. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. So I'm only on one hunger, right? So I'm rolling one red dice.
Yeah.
So I think the skull is a critical fail on that.
Yeah.
I've got a critical success and then 3 normal successes.
Okay, so the critical fail, was that your hunger die?
Yeah.
Okay, so you take another hunger.
Okay.
So that should be up to 2.
Yep.
But the reason why you recognize almost like the presence of this woman is because she's a vampire.
Damn, I mean, I knew it. But God, okay. That's probably, and that makes
You-
sense why my hunger would flare up too. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know why she's here. You don't know who she is. You can tell she's definitely older than you.
Okay.
She's got that kind of presence. It reminds you a little bit of Tabitha's contact.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not her, but it's the
No.
same sort of feeling. And as you obviously come to this realization, the door opens again, and Detective Michaels comes back in and reluctantly hands over a copy of everything to this woman. Detective Michaels is very on edge. And as she hands it over, she goes, "You know, I could lose my job for this, and then where would you be?" And there's just silence for a few seconds. Because she didn't even look up when Detective Michaels came into the room. And she looks up from the photos and she goes, "If that ever happened, you would lose more than your job." And then she just gets up and walks out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
But as she walks out the room, she flicks the original photo back and it lands perfectly on Detective Michael's desk.
Nice.
Nice bit of flair at the end.
Yeah.
At this, Detective Michaels literally sits down at the desk and she's like this, going, and you can see she's like shaking a little bit, like she's either from adrenaline, fear, anger, whatever. And she mutters something to herself and then kind of takes a deep breath and kind of sits up. And then she basically pulls up essentially Google and starts typing in trying to come up with some sort of reasonable explanation for why this might happen. As this is happening, like she starts to type in like specific words and she's like looking up different cases and things. As that's happening, you notice that you have 5 minutes now to get out and to get the key card back to David before his breaks up.
Okay. I need to get. I just need to get a picture of the symbol, really. I said I was going to put a bug in here, so I will try to put one. I don't know if she's got like a corner of a plant in a room, just at the highest angle possible, so I'd be able to see down at this where she sits. Maybe
Yeah,
even
so
on top of the light fixture.
Well, she's got a desk that obviously faces the door, and behind her she's got like a massive bookcase, and it's filled with obviously like pictures and random books. They're all like factual books, sorry, apart from like a couple ones about like the world's greatest serial killers, you know. So you've got obviously people like it goes basically from like modern all the way back to like the oldie times type thing.
Stuff.
Yeah, all of that's kind of on there. It's almost like she uses them as kind of like references almost.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and then obviously there's like say factual books about obviously like, you know, autopsies and wounds and, you know, like psychology ones about why people would do this and things like that. You can tell they've all been used a lot over the time she's been in this room. So there's definitely places to put a camera that you could probably see her.
Yeah, as long as I can see the picture, I'll sneak that in, and then I'll kind of like very gently shuffle over to the door and knock on the door and wait for her to open it and then do the whole slip away thing.
Okay. She's very on edge. But she's also very distracted at the same time. So when you do the knock, she jumps and immediately like closes, like minimizes her screen, so there's like nothing on there.
Yeah.
And then she kind of like gets up and goes to the door, and as she kind of slip out, someone does walk past at that moment, and just kind of go, "Oh, Detective Michaels, I've got something here for you to sign."
Perfect.
So pure luck. But she was
I'm
literally
gone.
like,
Yeah.
so there's this whole commotion and there's the usual noises. So you manage to, I assume you're just heading straight back out.
Yeah, I'll pretend to bump into Lou, again, a bit like a junkie, like, ooh, and I'll slyly like give you back the pass.
Okay,
Cool.
with literally 1 minute to spare.
That's how we work, right up to the wire.
Yeah, like I'll take the pass and then just kind of surreptitiously hook it back onto David's belt, before giving him one final kiss and just saying, "So I may not be back at the apartment later on, as my sister's out of town, and I'd said I'd go and check in on her place, but you know, I'll be around, and I'll be back, I'm sure, very soon."
And he's literally like, okay. He's like, hair's all like a mess, and he's got this total blissed out look on his face.
Just gonna like straighten
and
his
he's
hair.
almost like
And...
stumbles. He basically like stumbles back to, like, obviously the entrance, and heads back in.
Yeah, I like straighten his hair before he stumbles away and try at least make him look presentable, because we know we might need to go back in at some point.
Yeah, he does seem presentable, but obviously he's, you know, even from the short space of time that you've known him, that he talks about everything. So he might not go into full-blown specifics, but he told everybody that he was going out with Lou because, you know, Lou's like this gorgeous Instagram model person, you know, and this amazing artist and all this sort of stuff. So everybody knew. So that's why when he knocks on the door, the person was like, "Give me 10 minutes." So they've kind of like, it's not something that's kind of happened before, but because of that type of person that he is, everyone was just like, yeah, they knew exactly who you were when you came in. They know exactly what you got up to. And even if he looked completely presentable, and he, you know, they all would have known, because the moment he walked in and made eye contact, he would have gone neon red, and it would have given the whole game away. And then he would have had this kind of blissed out look on his face, and then started to, depending on the person, gone into intricate details about what you guys got up to, but only specific people.
Absolutely. Very important that we never tell David anything of note.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think you would have anyway.
No,
but,
it wouldn't.
No,
yeah.
There would never have been a need to, I don't think. But yeah, it's just a
No.
very good thing to know.
Yeah, he is the type where if something, he's a bit of a gossip. He's harmless, completely harmless, but he is a bit of a gossip. But you have, he's never told you actually anything about his work. So even if people have come in with stuff, he knows how to stay silent about important things. But obviously in this case, he wants to brag to the world that he's going out with you, and that, you know, you came in on his break and basically gave him the best half hour of his life. So, you know, bravo, Lou.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think
So
as we're walking away, like as Cal and Lou are walking away from the police station, Lou would just look over at Cal and is like, "Well, I don't know how you got on, but I did a very good job."
Oh, yes, so did I. He's like really excited. You can see. I'm just going to text our friend, and I'm going to text Reinhardt saying, "Hey, buddy, thank you for the book recommendation. I have one I think you would like also. See you soon."
Just going to reply with, "Okay."
And then like Cal will look up, and you know Lou when he's like really excited. He's like, "I finally learned something." I think,
Yes.
as always, it gives me more questions, but I'm going to try to slave the camera quickly to my phone and take as many like quick shots of the picture that I want to show Reinhardt. And he'll like look around nervously and be like, "Kindred are involved. I think Michaels is a not quite a ghoul, but
A thrall.
Kindred. Yes, I think so. They've just taken the case off of her. There was a kindred in the room with me. I gave them no reason to look, and I don't believe they saw me. I know her from. I don't know her face. Trust me.
Interesting.
The body, they still have no leads, but the kindred, even in her eyes, there was fear. It is a look I have seen in others.
Well, even if all we got out of this was different questions, that's still more than we had before.
Yes, and they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I have a picture that might even make Reinhardt use more than 10. It's some sort of branding, a ritual, I believe, in the body.
Branding in the body.
I knew you'd be excited.
Oh, goodness. Well, that is...
something. It's something, and I found it.
Definitely something. And
we should go talk to the librarian. He will know what it is.
Absolutely. We can... This is very
We should celebrate.
exciting. We definitely need to.
I'm hesitant to ask how Cal and Lou celebrate.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, they have very different ideas of what a celebration should be.
It's
Well,
very
Lou
true.
probably goes out and dates the people he's going to feast, and then Cal probably just tails home their like drunken friends and feeds on them, and they're passing out. Just vicariously lives through Lou, I think. Not really lives through, obviously, because we're dead, but he just stands around waiting for it. He's like, "Yes, what a good night." He's just so happy to have found something. But yeah, we'll go back to the flat. And I'll say the kindred reminded me of Tabitha's Camarilla contact.
Yes, they do hold themselves like that, don't they?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. They know more than, well, they're as afraid as we are, which is both good, perhaps, and unnerving.
I guess good in the sense that that we know that this is significant,
Yes.
but unnerving for obvious reasons. If something's got them scared.
Still, one step forward.
Indeed.
I'm elated.
I guess the one good thing we've got going for ourselves in this is that we are small fish in a big pond. So,
Yes.
whoever or whatever this thing is, if it's got intelligence, which based on the wards around prey, which we are assuming is connected, this thing has intelligence. It's very much going to have its mind occupied with the Camarilla and these new friends from the police station, more so than it is going to be focused on us.
Which is my favorite place in the universe when no one notices.
We are very different people, Cal. It's amazing how good friends we ended up being.
Friends. That's a funny one. But yes. Anyway, let's go find the librarian.
Indeed.
And I'll just text you again, Reinhardt, the H that we use for going home to Lou's flat. Or at least Cal does.
Okay.
Okay, so while this whole police station thing's been happening, so Reinhardt was going to the streets that for some reason animals were really wanting to go past.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything specific you want to do while you're there, or are you just walking the streets to see what's going on?
Yeah, just
Like a
walk the
weirdo.
streets. See if I get any kind of weird feelings
Okay.
when I'm there. Just really seems quite intriguing. And then when I get
Okay.
to the point that there's maximum weirdness, I'll have a look around and see if I can see anything.
Maximum weirdness.
So in that case, if you can do an awareness and an occult check for me.
Okay, what's my occult? 1, 2, 3, 4, and I lose 1 for hunger. 2, 3, 1 hunger dice. That was 3 successes and 1 fail.
Okay. So as you're walking the streets, everything seems absolutely fine. You are again kind of wondering. You don't know this area very well, so although people are naming like specific streets, obviously it's like certain places where the signs are in like a like tiny little thing by the side of the corner of the road, and it's hidden half by a bush. So you don't actually know exactly what streets you're wandering on. But as you're walking down the street, everything seems normal. There's, birds flying about, well, not really because it's kind of nighttime, but, usual kind of nighttime animal noises. And then as you reach a certain point in the street, there's no marker, there's nothing to signify that there should be a change. But as you step through, it's almost like the world dims to a hush. And there's barely any noise. It's almost like even inside the houses, people are purposefully being quiet. And you can feel something. You felt something vaguely similar before. Again, it was like the car where you think you should recognize it, but it's not quite there at the moment. But again, everything looks the same, smells the same. Again, you just get this feeling where everything's almost like they're trying not to draw attention to themselves. Like it's almost like when you go into kind of like a library or like an art gallery and everybody immediately kind of like hushes and starts talking quieter.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of atmosphere, but slightly less pleasant. It's almost like it reminds you almost of when you were human and there was something there that was not. And you got the feeling that there was something there that was bigger and scarier and deadlier than yourself. So you subconsciously find yourself stepping softer than you would normally. And kind of look into the shadows a little bit. And as you continue down the street, you turn a corner and there's a very familiar place just up ahead. That happens to be the Club Prey.
Wow. Okay, so this is quite big. Okay.
The club itself looks fairly small. It's a very nondescript looking club. Like you would, if it wasn't for the fact that there was all this hype about it, you'd probably just walk right past it.
So, what distance is this roughly from Prey? If we take, say, the center of Prey.
Well, you don't know the exact center of Prey.
Well, if we take Prey as the building, how far is it from, say, the edge of Prey to where I first came across this weird?
You're probably talking a good 30 feet.
Oh, that's quite impressive.
But bearing in mind, that's only in one direction.
I'll check.
And
rest.
what you've... Okay, are you going to kind of backtrack and check some of the other streets?
I might go... So, if we do a circle which is Prey, and we, just kind of put it into quadrants, which quadrant would I be in? If that makes sense.
Okay, you would probably be in like bottom left.
Then it was top right.
Okay. Are you going in a straight line, or well, as straight a line as you can be, considering?
Yeah, I feel that I don't really want to show fear around whatever this is.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be
So are
a
you
brave
going
boy.
to consciously make noise almost when all
I'm
of
just
these
gonna
bits
walk.
go by?
I'm just gonna walk normally. Like I'm gonna try and
Okay.
do my best to walk normally, like I'm not. That I'm fighting back that feeling that there's something bigger and scarier than me out here.
Okay. In that case, I need you to do a resolve and composure check.
I don't feel like I'm awful. Oh no, resolve's not bad. Where's composure? Where's composure?
Social.
Oh, actually, that's not too bad. That's 6 dice.
Because what you noticed the first time was it was almost subconscious. And it hasn't. And when you noticed it, and you noticed that you'd done it, it made you slightly nervous because it's been a long time since you've subconsciously, purposefully hid in the shadows, but not because you're hunting something, but because you feel like something might be hunting you, which you haven't felt since you were human.
Still got 2 failures, but I got a critical success and 3 successes.
Okay, so
that feels good.
Okay, so you are making a very conscious effort that when you walk down these streets, when you hit that point, again, there's no rhyme or reason to it. You'll be walking down one street and you'll get almost into the kind of main square, essentially. It's not quite a square. Obviously, it's kind of like a weird shape, but like where the entrance to Prey is, there's like obviously kind of slightly open area. There's areas where you get right up to that and you don't feel it at all. And then you might backtrack up that street, and then the very next one is right as you go into the street that you can feel it. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason at the moment. But as you're walking down these streets, even when everyone else is hushed, you're almost consciously making noise, but it sounds like everything echoes. Nothing happens that you can see or hear or feel, apart from the fact that although everything's very hushed, you are not.
Okay. And so I suppose at this point, how far from Prey am I?
You are in the middle of a sort of row of buildings. You can just see the corner of Prey. So you're almost at the top right.
Okay. If I was going to straight line from the top right to Prey, am I always in this weird silence, freaky area? If I was to straight line as much as I can towards Prey?
No. There are random areas where everything's absolutely fine.
I need a map.
And you can get right up to